I'm John Seacott, executive editor of the Brewer Magazine. Welcome to another edition of the Brewer Magazine podcast. Make sure you're liking and subscribing on YouTube or Spotify. And of course, you can always find us at brewermag.com. We are sponsored by Keg Logistics, keglogistics.com/Brewer Magazine. Well, with shifting consumer habits, breweries like yours are exploring new ways to expand brands beyond just beer. And Detroit's Batch Brewing, which is known now for their beer, barbecue, and also their community-driven initiatives, well, they've added a unique non-alcoholic option to their lineup. It's called Goot Soda. It's a prebiotic soda designed to be Goot for your gut. And Batch Brewing owner Stephen Roginson, along with head brewer Eric Plata, well, are going to be sharing insights today about how they developed the product, why and where they think it's going to fit in the gap of just not the Michigan market, but also beyond, all over the United States, and also their thoughts on how your brewery can and probably should be thinking about introducing new product lines to be more local and more diverse. Check this out. This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency. And we're joined with Batch Brewing's Stephen Roginson, along with Eric Plata. Hey guys, thanks for joining us here on the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Hope things are well for you. One of the things that is new for you guys is getting into a little bit of NA and doing it a little different. You got it right there. A Goot Soda. Tell us a little bit about what you guys wanted to do. What inspired you? I know, Eric, you're kind of the developer behind this, of doing soda instead of maybe some other NA type of options in a brewery.
I mean, I think from a business side, there's been a demand for some other NA options in the tap room, but also more broadly in the marketplace. And launching an NA beer line, just from a equipment standpoint, the capital investment to do it well is not anything that fits with our business model at all. Eric brought the idea of doing a prebiotic soda, and we wrapped our arms around it and got to have fun with a new brand. I mean, personally, my career path leading into craft beer previously was in non-alcoholic beverage. I actually worked on vitamin water in the early days, pre-Coca-Cola. And so it's fun to kind of put those trousers back on and see if they still fit.
Yeah. And it's funny because, and not that there's much correlation to what pre-prohibition through prohibition was, but breweries found ways to survive in hard times. And I actually just read an article on the History Channel this morning about, like what Coors was doing, what Miller was doing. It came down to real estate and finding other options. Bevo, of course, Budweiser, kind of came out with the non-alcoholic, and I think non-alcoholic has changed a lot, so breweries can find ways. But soda, ice cream, ceramics. I didn't realize Coors made ceramics for a while. Just finding these different options. As a business owner, do you see? Yeah, we have to diversify outside of being we make beer just to be able to compete in what this market is now.
100%. In the last 12 months, we've been developing and working on Goot Soda, this brand. We also finally added a distiller's license to what we're doing. We've started to develop a sub-brand, a barbecue brand, Yellow Dog Craft Barbecue, trying to be able to mean more things to more people and create our space here as a community gathering space that can accommodate everyone is hyper important right now, being a hyper local business, but also to work on a brand like Goot Soda that is scalable, that is something that has a much quicker production turn time than making beer or making cider, is really gratifying. And also to let these minds, these creators, craftspeople, take their knowledge and work in a new space that we can, go into the marketplace and see if there's any room for. So this is, prebiotic soda. We didn't create the category, but it is a young and growing category, and I think this is a place we might be able to, have something to say.
Absolutely. Eric, take me through like just the genesis of it. What made you want to do it? What did you know about it? And how has, being able to start making it changed as a brewer, that scratches that itch of creativity.
Yeah, so to Stephen's point, the ever-changing landscape in craft beer and just drinking habits in general. I think for us to diversify out of just the alcohol space, but not only just into NA, but also like a health focused beverage. So I think when we were trying to develop something that was NA, how do we even pivot from that to make it its own unique thing? And having the prebiotic aspect is just another lane that we feel like breweries of our size and capacity have not really capitalized in. So that was really the big driver for that, was just how do we go into the NA space, but then make it unique and our own as a small producer. But yeah, I mean, when we were developing this recipe, this one in front of us here, the watermelon and strawberry, a lot of it was we got to make it taste good. We have to focus on the health benefits of it, as well as making it, low sugar. I think what separates us from the bigger brands that are in market spaces right now is the fact that it is 8 grams of dietary fiber per 12-ounce serving, but also a low cal and low sugar option. Some of the bigger brands are a little bit higher on all three of those stats. So um, for me was also, the formulation. It's not something I had ever done before, but it forced me to kind of learn something new. I've always been science driven in brewing whatever we're doing, and this was just another aspect of something to like dive into and figure out. So developing the formulas to actually like sit down and calculate some of these things pen and paper was a learning curve in itself. And we were fortunate enough to use some equipment from local brewers to monitor and calculate some of that data before sending it off to a lab where we got full nutritional value for the can. But all that is, in my mind, creative. How do we approach it?
Yeah, and talk about a little bit about the science behind this. And you get your brewing mind going, you have to be able to do your numbers, figure out that calculations. Like if there's someone else that is like, man, it sounds like a good idea, and another brewery wants to do it, like production wise, it's faster because there's a lot. It's not like you said, there's no fermentation time type things. What are some of those things that you've had to dial in over the time that it's taken to get to finally go to product?
Yeah, I think it's going to change for equipment. Whatever the equipment the brewers have, producers have, we had to make it work for what we have, and a lot of that was just trialing new ingredients, trialing different forms of fiber, and then finding one that worked for us. So that's kind of what it is. I mean, there is no like this is how you do it across the board. It's more of just trial and error and figuring out what works for your equipment and your production space.
Stephen, what sort of red tape is there for this? Is there things that you have to add a license or have to, or was it you can actually get it out and get it out to the market pretty quickly when it comes to regulatory stuff?
Regulatory stuff was super simple. There is none other than having a fully vetted and confirmable nutritional panel.
Hmm.
And there is some cost there. So the all the bench topping and the testing that we do before we send out, which those tests are expensive. Confirming all the nutritional panel is an expensive test. So for the first round, for this first flavor, the watermelon strawberry, we were able to work with, like Eric said, some local breweries that had some equipment. But as the landscape here has changed, as breweries are being acquired and sold and closing, we find ourselves with a really cool opportunity to start working with Wayne State University. So we're just kind of in the earliest parts of that conversation, but to be able to start using their lab and sensory evaluation space and working with students, maybe even turning some of this collaborative stuff into, internships and stuff. Really in a place to build a relationship with a premier research university in our city that's sprung out of this product. So that's been one of the the surprise positives that's come from this.
Awesome. What is the differences and similarities when it comes to equipment or a production day? I'm assuming obviously 95% of your job is cleaning anyway, Eric. It must be a little even different because I would assume that soda's a little stickier than even wort.
Surprisingly, it's not. Wort's
Oh wow, okay.
still still a lot stickier. No, a lot of it is honestly just passivation. That's why I said like there is no clear path for every brewery. If you have the means of pasteurization, then you're going to approach it a different way than another brewery that doesn't have the means of pasteurization or a flash pasteurizer or whatever else. Um, but yeah, I mean it's a lengthy process, but it's something that can be done in a day. Um, but yeah, it's a faster process than brewing, I will say. Yeah.
Well, some of the other things, and you kind of mentioned you guys are doing strawberry watermelon right now, but in the press release, you guys had, talked about adding lemon, lime, ginger, blackberry, lemon as well. Where are you guys in the process of that right now?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we're about ready to fire out to full nutritional here shortly. And once we get that data back, then we'll be in full scale production.
Cool. And it is interesting, you didn't just go straight, okay, you guys are Detroit. You guys aren't going to make a red pop version. Like you found a way to find new flavors. Strawberry watermelon's a cool, avenue to be able to kick this off with. Have you heard of strawberry watermelon flavors together in a soda before, or was this something that you thought was a cool way to debut this?
I mean, again, like I'm a brewer first and foremost, and I've seen those flavored combos and beers and sours, and to me, I like those flavors together, just outside and eating and whatever else. But it was pleasant to my palate, and of course, we bench topped all these flavors and trialed them all together, and we landed on something that we collectively agreed on. Um, but yeah, I think those flavors make sense.
And just to add to that, the process of evaluating these flavor combinations so far has involved people from all across the organization, not only in the brewery, but front of house, chef, general manager, uh, tasting and giving feedback. And it's been a lot of fun. And there's other flavors that we're planning for, the third and fourth phase of developing this brand. But the space for prebiotic soda has been kind of a singular one, with the brands really, in my opinion, as a marketer by trade, like fairly similar.
Mm-hmm.
And I think positioning this as something that people that are into craft beer might look at and raise an eyebrow, kind of riffing on German, heritage and beer, kind of tying those things together. I think it's an opportunity to communicate a beverage that has real benefits, real health benefits, to really a new audience, and differentiate what we're doing from the rest of the category.
Yeah, I want to talk about audience first, second, but first talking about the marketing aspect. You didn't call this Batch Brewing's prebiotic soda. You gave it a name. You gave it its own place to be able to breathe outside of the brewery. Was that intentional? Is it, how did you come to that realization that you wanted to kind of have that name differently than just being a batch soda? This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency.
Batch Brewing Company is a Detroit brand. On a good day, we're a Michigan brand. In this industry, in this category, in this time and place, I have very limited expectations of ever being beyond the borders of Michigan. I think we're going to remain small. I think that's what the market demands out of a brewery right now. A soda, however, has the opportunity for some real scale, and shouldn't be limited by borders. So the opportunity to, blank sheet of paper, create a brand that could speak to people all over the country potentially,
Yeah.
but start local, start small, and have a little bit of a lineage, a little bit of a tie-in to beer culture. Little psychic wink at beer was kind of what inspired the thought process for the brand.
Gotcha. And distribution strategy is what right now for you guys, off the get-go?
We are going to market with our distributor M4. They distribute all of our beer. They have statewide coverage, and they understand kind of how we're going to market currently. But we have some interest from some of the natural specialty food retail chains in Michigan, and really plans to grow the brand through the calendar year before we get to those kind of resets with the bigger retailers in September, October. So yeah, just rolling it out now, creating some momentum and some excitement, and with the hopes to scale what we're doing going into the fall.
Let's get to the audience part. How has this, and of course it's still fairly new, but how has this given you that idea of we can reach different people, whether it's within the tap room, within the beer community, all the way to everyone in Detroit now, is going to be able to see this, and you're finding that new avenue. I mean, what type of engagement have you guys had so far?
Honestly, it's been very organic and limited. Tap
Yeah.
room and what's getting into the marketplace, a little bit of light social, a little bit of, conversations like this. But with the product we just got to distributor, and the two that we're about to launch, it's going to be an opportunity to, like I said, kind of get back to my roots in my previous career and get out into the marketplace and do some sampling and talk to some of our colleagues in the industry. I think every brewery in the state of Michigan and beyond is looking for interesting NA products to be able to carry in their tap rooms that complement what they're doing already, that speak to that consumer. So I can imagine Goot Soda in every brewery tap room that's looking for an NA option in the state immediately. So that'll be a part of our early rollout. And then we'll see if it's relevant to people outside of the state of Michigan as we infill, and not just little, boutique brewery opportunities throughout communities, but as we go into mainstream grocery, and whether we'll find out whether or not this makes sense up and down the street. I think the category is still a little young to go pick up a prebiotic soda at a liquor store or a party store, but I think we're talking grocery, natural specialty foods, and then those places like breweries, cafes, coffee shops, where somebody might pick this up along with their coffee, along with their juice, along with their other specialty groceries.
Eric, has there been anything on the brewing end, like additional ingredients, resources that you guys have needed to add on, new suppliers that you've had to work with, or have you kind of been able to work within your already established connections to be able to make this go forward just product wise?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not it's not like breweries to get in dietary fiber all the time. So like when we were developing this product, we knew that we would have to find a supplier to supply us the fiber that we used in it. But there is some crossover with the flavors that we are adding, the natural flavors that we're adding, the suppliers that we've used for beer product as well.
If someone's listening to this, another brewery owner, um, do you feel like, do you talk about, or you consider diversification? I think we talked a little bit about this at the beginning, why diversification matters so much more in this last 5 years. And I think this, I don't want to lead this into the fact that, Stephen, you've made some great videos on the batch brewing social media streams talking about the importance of local diversification. There's a lot of bad things going on right now. We've heard so many breweries have been closing lately. Why is it so important to be what you're doing right now?
We're fortunate that we're small enough that we can be nimble. Made some moves during pandemic to actually not keep spreading ourselves thin, but to get small and get deliberate. We stopped distributing beer for almost the last 4 years. Um, Other than a couple of key customers, Comerica Park and a couple other places that we were sending beer for the last 18 months, it wasn't until October of last year that we actually started sending canned product to M4 again for the first time in years. And that, nimbleness of our business size gives us some flexibility to try new things. Um, every brewery should be asking themselves what's working, what's not, and looking at opportunities to get efficient, to prune off some of the branches of, for lack of a better term, self-indulgence, right? We are in this to be craftspeople, and sometimes we get blinded by the shiny object. We're getting obsessed with a thing that maybe not that many people care about. Certainly not enough to sustain an entire business model. So how can we streamline what we're doing to make it as efficient as possible to create operational space and share a mind space to try something new, and whether it's a soda brand, or it's a culinary offshoot or something altogether different. I think every brewery should be asking some real tough questions about themselves and what they're investing their time and effort and labor and manpower into, and make sure that it's paying dividends.
Awesome. Anything else that you want to share about Goot Soda? I mean, give your pitch why a brewery should be either hosting it from you or working on something like this. Why is a brand like this important for a brewery?
Goot Soda represents a demand from consumers for non-alcoholic craft options. Anybody can go to a store and pick up some Coke Diet, some Verner's, some Fago, and have it in their tap room as an NA option. But this is truly a craft product, handmade at a small scale in Detroit, Michigan. And anybody that's in the state of Michigan or has ever been inspired by Michigan beer, which is quite frankly international, uh, can recognize that the talent and inspiration behind some of the best beer in the world can create new things. And Goot Soda, I think, is a great reflection of that inspiration, and a brand that encapsulates that spirit as well as the intention behind craft. So we're really excited about the product. I think there's some opportunity to continue to grow it. As far as other breweries jumping into the space, as Eric has made clear, there's an investment of time. We've been working on this for about 18 months. um, so the idea of getting into this space, hopefully you have the share of mind, but there's a lot of other spaces out there too. And I would say think about the bandwidth of your equipment. If you have equipment that's sitting fallow and being unused, how can you capitalize on it to make new money in a different category? And that's the starting question.
Well, awesome. Best of luck on that. I actually wanted to rewind. The first time, Stephen, that me and you talked was, I think I looked back. I think it was June of 17. So, by the way, congratulations, 10-year anniversary, just this last month, right? So, it's been a good 8 years since we've seen each other. And we talked about the Feel Good Tap. I did a quick search. The last post I saw, it still was recent. Feel Good Tap still a thing with batch brewing?
Feel Good Tap is still a thing with batch brewing, and more importantly, Feel Good Tap is something that Craft Beer Michigan owns now, going back to the pandemic when the industry changed, and the concern about raising money and supporting the community really just did a 180. It I thought that it was an opportunity for every brewery or beer bar or restaurant that was participating in the Feel Good Tap to think about their backyards, who they could support in their communities. And back then it was, for us, supporting the service industry. So we really focused on helping underemployed or unemployed people from the service industry get access to some other resources. Coming back from the pandemic, I really said to anybody still participating with this brand, use it how it makes sense, raise money for your community, make it relevant to you and to your community, and it's your brand now. So the Feel Good Tap exists. It still exists as a 501c3, but it doesn't operate with the same model that it used to.
Mhm.
It operates with the same intention, just letting everyone really use that platform, that name that kind of exists in the zeitgeist as a springboard to support their community.
Very awesome. Well, cool. Well, I like to end things a little light, a little fun. So you guys want to jump on some rapid fire stuff and fire back some answers to some fun questions?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. What's the most underrated beer style and why? Start with Eric.
It's tough. Franconian dark lager, because because it's my favorite style and I don't see enough of them. So
Have you made it though? Do you guys have it on tap at
yeah,
batch ever?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Usually for our Oktober festival, we try to have 13 German ales and lagers, and that always makes the cut. So
Awesome. What about you, Stephen?
Uh, how do you follow up Franconian dark lager? Most underrated beer style. You know what? I was about to say something in the English space. I just watched the cycle of craft beer, and the craft beer industry is really driven by lagers right now, in my opinion, lagers and IPAs for sure. Um, but I think that, well, I'm not going to give you a single style, but I wonder if we're going to start to see a little tick towards some of those like 80s and early 90s kind of English beer styles that got people excited back in the day. So I'm just going to give you it as a category. It's a lazy answer, but
No, I think you're right. I think the maltier, maybe sessionable type of styles.
all for sure.
I ESB is still one of the ones that if I see it at a brewery, I am so excited to be able to have an ESB. And
As long as
I
there's no fuggle in it, man. We
all
were having
right.
this conversation earlier. Yeah, everybody's
Oh,
got like a
really?
hop kryptonite, and fuggle is for me, no bueno.
Number two, if you had to describe your brewery's vibe in 3 words, what would it be?
Um, Local community.
yeah, I was gonna say community for sure.
Yeah,
We're definitely like heavily supported by our community, which we're thankful for.
and Detroit. I mean, this brand is grown and supported by the city, lives within it, and we rep it hard.
Cool. And the last one, Eric, I'll start with you. If you could guest star on any TV show, which one would it be, and what would your role be in it?
I don't know. I've been on a Righteous Gemstones kick lately.
Okay.
So that'd be cool. But I don't know, just to be like some crazy like a I don't know pastor or something, because all the pastors in that show are just bonkers. I love it. It's hilarious.
Cool. And Steven?
I mean, Ted Lasso season 4 is coming out right now. If I could make a cameo on that show, I mean, I have used Ted Lasso the same way I used West Wing, or Bottle Shock. I've seen the movie Bottle Shock. When I was opening the brewery, sometimes I would turn a scene on just like to rub some salve on my wounds of how hard it was to open this little brewery on no budget. West Wing, I'll do the same thing. I'll turn it on to like watch a scene to help me like calm down about what's happening in the world right now. But Ted Lasso, I've used in the same way. Just like if I could have a cameo on that show, yeah, that'll be the first line of my epitaph.
Would you want to be like what would your role be? Would you be a soccer player then, or would you be a
Jesus
owner?
Lord, no. I am not athletic enough to be a soccer player. I would probably be like one of the fans in a pub, just like having a wild interaction with, coaches or something random. I would want it to be one of those like memorable moments from a show. Like I made an appearance, I said a really memorable line that people like quote, movie quotes to each other, and that's it. I want like 15 seconds on screen, say my one line, dip out.
Coach Beard and you in a scene would be amazing.
Great.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks so much for telling us about, what you guys got going on. Best of luck to Goot Soda. I want to say Goot Soda, but I think it's going to be, it's important to be diversification right now, especially when it comes to the NA realm and just business in general to be able to open things up. So, guys, thanks a lot for telling us about it.
Thanks for your time.
This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency.